one of the things that I noticed about myself is that I was depressed. I started losing weight. I just wanted to isolate from my family and friends. Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Nancy, and if you're new here, you're welcome. This is a platform where I get to share with you guys my life experiences and also the lessons that I've learned throughout that journey. So if this is something that relates to you, remember to subscribe to my channel. Please subscribe. I need as many followers as I can to grow this channel. So remember to subscribe to my channel and also to give this video a thumbs up and to drop me a comment down below. Okay, so I decided to go with this topic because I remember when I had my heartbreak. I would call it my first serious heartbreak because for me, I don't know. I don't really count that dating in my teenage years, and whatever heartbreak I had, I think at the time I was just unbothered. I'm talking about that kind of heartbreak when you are a bit matured and you make independent decisions. I think back then, I think we started dating because of peer pressure. I think in my teenagers, I did it because of peer pressure. I mean, all my friends had boyfriends, so I needed to find a boyfriend as well. So I'm not talking about those kinds of relationships, childish relationship. I'm talking about relationships where you make sound decisions, where you decide for yourself what you want, and you're not making decisions based on peer pressure or you're not making decisions to fit in with your clique, but you're making decisions because you start feeling something in your body. You start feeling that desire, that desire to be close to someone, to be intimate with someone. Yeah, I'm talking about that kind of relationship. It's purely adult content over here. So I decided to go with this topic, how to cope with a heartbreak, because I feel that, when I went through that myself, I had a hard time coping with it. Like I said, I think this was probably one of my first serious heartbreaks. I don't have a long history of dating and stuff. So when I talk about heartbreak, I'm talking about, my first serious heartbreak. Okay. So when I experienced my heartbreak, I think I had a hard time coping with the situation. It really just threw me off. Like I didn't know what to do. I had a mix of emotions within me. I was feeling depressed. I started questioning my self-worth. I felt like I needed to date someone to get over this person. And so I had all these mixed feelings. But throughout that journey, there are some lessons that I picked up that I want to share with you guys. I think for me, when I suffered that heartbreak, that I really, really count as a heartbreak for myself, I had a hard time coping with it. And one of the things that I noticed about myself is that I was depressed. I started losing weight. I just wanted to isolate from my family and friends. Of course, I had a few friends, very few friends that I trusted, that I opened up my issues with them, because I didn't want to talk about these issues with my family members. Please bear in mind that it's never a good idea to share your relationship issues with your family members, because life happens that you can forgive that person, but your family will never forgive that person. They'll forever keep a grudge against that person. So it's never a good idea. If you know that you want to maintain good relations with this person even after that breakup, it's never, hear it from me, it's never a good idea to share your issues with your family members. Of course, you can tell them surface things, but don't tell them like deep stuff, like serious serious things. Okay, don't tell them serious things. Get it from me. Tell them surface things. It could be your sister or your brother or someone that you trust, but I think some issues, just share it with a close friend that you trust. I mean, you can go a step further and share your things with a therapist. I don't know if we have such here in Zambia, but I don't think I've heard of any. I know we have counselors like in hospitals, church counselors, but therapists, I don't know if there are such services even Okay. So for me, I started feeling depressed. The only thing I wanted was to sleep almost the whole day. I would sleep almost the whole day. I would just suck in myself and just think, just isolate from others and just be on my own, just have that time to think, because I really wanted to know like what went wrong. I started questioning my self-worth. I started questioning my values. Probably there was something that I did. There's always that moment when you question yourself, did I do enough, did I do less, and things like that. But know that when a relationship ends, it's no one's fault, because when it comes to love issues, love is a risk. Like I mentioned in my other video, it's a risk. You are not guaranteed. Yeah, people make promises, but it's never a guarantee that a person will keep that promise. So it's all on you. When you fall in love with someone, it's all on you. It's a risk that you're taking. So it's never really anyone's fault. And none of us knows like what the future holds. Like you can't predict the future. Unless if you're a prophet or whatever. But even in those cases, even in prophets and whatever, get disappointed as well. So you can never tell. You can never be careful about such things. Life happens. If it works out, if it works out. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. So that was a long introduction. Let me just get into today's topic. So I wanted to share with you guys how to cope with a heartbreak. I remember for me, I think after I got over those moments of being depressed, sleeping and whatever, what I wanted to do now was just to go out, keep myself busy by going out, drinking some wine. I love wine. So I'll drink wine, and I just want to, I think in the course of this video, I'll touch on that a bit. Okay, so I started going out a lot. I think my people who are close to me can testify to that. I started going out a lot, just taking myself out there, because I've always been this person who, I don't really like the outdoors. I don't like being out there a lot. I love going out and stuff, but I'm not the type of person that loves being outside. Let me just put it like that, because I love to have time to myself, to read, to think, and just to write. I remember back then I used to journal a lot, like write a lot of things down. I've kind of stopped, because I think I've gotten busier as I've grown older, but I do keep notes on my phone. I think most of the stuff that I write now, I just write on my phone. I just type on my phone. I don't actually write stuff down in a journal or whatever. So I've always been that kind of person. But however, when I suffered from a heartbreak, I decided to, what? Let me just live my life. Let me like put myself out there. And in my mind, I was thinking probably this person left because he didn't think I was cool enough. He didn't think I was fun enough and stuff like that. So I had all these wrong reasons at the back of my mind for doing what I did. But nevertheless, I had a great time. Like, I think I needed that experience in my life. I had a great time, okay? So the first thing that I want to talk about on how you can cope with the heartbreak is that allow yourself to grieve. This is because when a relationship ends, you should not have that kind of I don't care attitude. You should care, because this is the person that you shared a life with. This is someone that you shared many wonderful memories with, and it hurts. It's just how and grieving is just part of our emotional mechanism as human beings. So it's never a weakness. You should not perceive grieving as a weakness. And what I mean by grieving is just going through all those roller coaster of emotions, crying, being depressed, isolating yourself from others. All that is part of grief. Allow yourself to grieve. It's okay to grieve, because you've lost someone. Whenever a relationship ends, some people say it was a mutual agreement. It's never a mutual agreement. There's always someone who gets hurt. there's always someone who hopes that that relationship would work out. There's always someone who is at loss. So there's nothing like it's a mutual agreement. There's always someone who gets hurt in the process, and some people are mature enough to understand that things have ended and this person no longer wants to be with me. It's time for me to head a different, to hit a different road. And some people, it takes time for them to come to terms with that. So people are just different like that, how we deal with our issues. So number one point, allow yourself to grieve. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to cry, either privately or publicly. That's just how you feel inside. It's okay to be authentic with your feelings, because that's who we are as human beings. We are emotional beings. We feel all these emotions. It's okay to cry. Just like you cry when someone dies, when you lose a loved one, it's also okay to cry when you lose, when a relationship ends, because in the actual sense, you're losing that person. You're cutting ties with that person, So the other point that I want to talk about is talk to someone, find someone that you can trust and just vent to that person. Usually this is a friend. For me, I had this friend of mine who was always there for me. Even now, she's always there for me, like to hear my issues out, because there are just things that you can't talk about with your family members. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, avoid sharing your relationship issues with your family members, because you can forget, but they can never forget. They never forget and they never forgive. They always keep grudges, Find someone that you can talk to, someone that you can open up to. If for someone that you trust, someone that you know that will keep your secrets, someone that you know that after telling them something, they won't go out and stand on a mountain and announce your issues to the world. Have a friend. All of us, we have that friend that we can trust. So yeah, and I'm not saying, like, it's not this thing of not sharing your relationship issues with your family members. It's not like a universal rule. Do what works for you. I think for me, from my experience, I think that it's never a good idea to share your relationship issues with your family members, like from my experience. So go out there and have your own experience, share with your family members and see how that works out for you. The third point that I want to share with you guys is that avoid rebounds. I know, like, people say you need someone to get over someone. That's just how it works. Yeah, that's true. I totally agree with that statement, like 100% in agreement with that statement. You need someone to get over someone. You need more like a replacement, someone to fill that void, and nothing you do can ever fill that emptiness you feel after losing someone. So it can only take another person to fill that void. The only issue with this coping strategy is that you should never turn it into a romantic relationship. You can have a friend, a male friend. Yeah, you can have a male friend that can help you to cope with that loss that you're experiencing. Yeah, it's fine. I think it's fine. You can have a male friend, guys. It's not a crime to have male friends. Yeah, you can have a male friend that can help you go through your heartbreak moment. The only thing that I'm against is never turn that friendship into a romantic relationship. Because it gets messy in the end. Someone will always feel used simply because the other person was not ready to date. Because when you're grieving, you have all these mixed feelings with you. Like, your mind is unstable. Your mind is not sound to make decisions, to make definite decisions. You're still doubting, you're still, like, it just gets messy. Everything is triggered by the pain that you feel in your heart. So it's never a good time to start dating. Don't quickly rush into another relationship. No wonder, like, these days we have this thing where people say, that person used me. Like, we live in a fast-paced world, and people move on so fast. Like, these days people move on so fast. It's okay, as long as you know that you are making a right decision. People are stuck in relationships that they could have avoided, or in messes that they could have avoided if only they had waited, given themselves more time to get over that person that they ended the relationship with. However, most people rush, jump into the next relationship, and this is where, like, being it scares people these days. Like, love has become something scary, now. There's even a phrase that people say, "Vama love, you can die," like you can actually die, because people are getting into these relationships when they are not ready. They're not emotionally ready, they're not physically ready, and that just ends up being messed up. One person will always feel used, and you should never be that person that that uses other people. Yeah, you should never be that person that uses other people just to get over your heartbreak. I think it's important to be honest. It's important to be not just with others, but also with yourself. Ask yourself, is this what I need right now? What's the future of this relationship if I get into it? I know most of us may think that we need to live in the moment. Whatever can get you through the day, I mean, that can get you through the day can lead to consequences of a lifetime. Perhaps you may get pregnant, perhaps you may perhaps the other person may fall in love with you. What are you going to do? So I think it's important to avoid rebounds. I think for me, when I learned this, when I was going through a heartbreak, I had so many temptations of dating, and most people would tell me, how come you don't want to date anyone? What is it? Is it because that you love the other person too much, or what? It wasn't that. I wasn't just ready to dive into another relationship. I wasn't just ready, guys. And I'm glad today that I gave myself that much time to really just bring things into perspective, to figure out what I wanted for myself. Of course, I had moments where I would go on dates and stuff like that, but it didn't. For me, I went on those dates just to as a stress relief, and also just to hang out, to chat, drink some wine, eat some good food, and that's it. Like, I didn't really go on those dates to with the intentions of starting to date this person or whatever. No, for me, I went on those dates, like I said, just to have some time out, to to have some fun. It's never a good idea, guys. I don't want to keep repeating myself. It's just never a good idea. The other point that I want to talk about is that while you're at it, while you're going through that heartbreak, improve your life. Okay, don't stop living because your heart has been broken. you know don't stop doing what you're doing because your heart has been broken. Don't become inefficient either with schoolwork or at work. There are people, in as much as your heart is broken, you have to keep moving, because there are people who are depending on you. There are people who are counting on you. Perhaps if you're in school, your parents or guardians paid school fees for you, and you have to keep going because of that. Life is hard, life is tough. No wonder they say life is not for the faint-hearted. Life is hard, and it gets rough. It can get rough, but you have to be tough. Okay, you have to be tough. You have to keep going. The world will not stop moving because you have a heartbreak. Time will not stop for you. Okay, so if you decide to stop because of a heartbreak, come on, guys, you are wasting away your future. You have to be, in as much as you are going through whatever you're going through, improve yourself. This is not a time to sit and sulk. Improve your life. Whatever that you can do to improve your life, go to school, start up a business or whatever, dress nicely, change your style, whatever, whatever you can do to improve your self-image, your life. But of course, as much as you are doing these things, do them for you. Don't do them so that the other person that left you should notice you and whatever. I think most of us women suffer a lot from these things, because we start questioning our self-worth, and I'll get to that point. very soon. Coming to self-worth, I want to say that maintain your self-worth. In as much as your heart has been broken, maintain your self-worth. And I googled what self-worth means, because we just throw these words around. Self-worth, what does that even mean? Okay, I think I love the definition of self-worth that I found. Let me just read it to you guys. This is the internal sense of being good enough and worthy of love and belonging from others. It is not the same as self-esteem, which relies on external factors such as success and achievements, which sometimes can be inconsistent. I love this definition of self-worth. So here, they are simply saying self-worth is not dependent on external factors, but it should come from within you. Your self-worth should come first and foremost because you are a human being. And your worth does not reduce because someone has left. Change your perspective. Instead of thinking that person left because I wasn't good enough, think that that person left you so that they can actually give room for your true soulmate. You should change your perspective. When you change the way you perceive things, the things that you perceive will also change. Gosh, I don't know where I read this quote, but it came out so right. So when you change your perception, the things that you perceive will also change. Gosh, I love that. So lastly, what I want to talk about is believe that everything that happens to you happens for a purpose. Nothing happens for just. They say out there that when we make plans, God laughs, because we don't know the future. People say you should never get comfortable. You should never get comfortable in any situation, because when you're comfortable, you'll be settled. You won't move, So most of us find ourselves in these situations where we are comfortable and we don't think of other ways. We don't think of we don't think of anything else. We just feel settled in that situation. And it's hard when you feel settled, it's hard for you to move. No wonder most of us talk about, I want to be settled now. I'm grown, I want to be settled. Like you're just tired of moving up and down, moving from this person to the next. You just want to be settled in one place, have your mind in one place, and most of us get stuck in situations where we feel settled, we feel uncomfortable. And because of that, it's hard for us to move. But speaking from a Christian point of view, the way that God works, God brings circumstances in our lives to shake things up so that we can move in the right direction, because God came to you and said, my child, it's high time for you to move from this place. We would refuse, because we are comfortable in that situation. But when things get uncomfortable, we are quick to move. Okay, so guys, I hope this video has been helpful to you. I hope the tips that I've shared with you today will really help you to cope with your heartbreak. Remember, you are the architect of your own destiny. However that your life will turn out to be, you alone are the architect. Whether you fall in love, someone breaks your heart or whatever, remember that you alone are the architect of your life. Whatever decisions that you make, that is a life that you're creating for yourself. So at the end of the day, don't put the blame on other people. Always be in charge of your life. Make decisions for yourself, for you and you alone. I'm not saying be selfish, but I mean make decisions that are good for you. And when it comes to getting over a heartbreak, I think this is a time where most of us really just make wrong decisions. And I just want to remind you that you alone can take you where you want to be. So it's very important that you learn how to cope with some of these things so that you don't lose yourself, you don't lose your way, because it's easy to lose your way. It's easy to lose your value as a person, when someone breaks up with you. So it's very important, guys, to curate the life that you want for yourself, and it's important to learn how to cope with these things. So if this is something that relates to you, drop me a comment down below, and I'll be glad to read your views on this topic and just read your own experiences,